Hello Blizzard fans, this is FalconPaladin coming to you with yet another daily Blizzard upload. This is a game between VampyWorm and NetGenius on Ruins of Seras. Despite the fact that the wallpaper says Heart of the Swarm, this is a Legacy of the Void replay. I'm not sure what's up with that, but this is a Protoss versus random game, and the random player just spawned as Zerg, so it's a PvZ. Alright, let's get rid of that, click that, introduce the players. In the bottom left of Ruins of Seras, we have the red Protoss player. It is VampyWorm. Always so nice to send me replays, I really appreciate it from him. He sends me both wins and losses. He is not a vain player in any stretch. I really appreciate all he does for the channel, and I hope to give him some good exposure here. NetGenius says, what's your real league? Vampy says Masters. How about you? NetGenius says me too. Alright, so this should be a Masters game. Pretty fun stuff. On the bottom right of Ruins of Seras, we have the blue Zerg player NetGenius, representing no clan at this point. The scouting probe comes right on in, sees exactly what is going on, which is nothing. And there we go. There comes the hatch. Are we going to throw down a pylon is a question, just to throw a bit of a scare into the Zerg player. The drone comes down to chase the probe away. A third hatch perhaps, but no, Vampy's not going for anything too early on the Nexus front, at least the second Nexus. 2 gates into a Cyber Core. There we go. And 1 gas this time. Usually we get 2 gas into an Adept opening, but maybe VampyWorm is tired of going Adepts. I mean, we have seen that be used against Zerg players in Legacy of the Void time and time again. And just, you get a lot of lings, you kind of surround the Adepts, and they die, and you lose that gas that you could probably use for something better, but nope. VampyWorm says, I'm going to go for this Adept opening off of 1 gas. Usually we see 2 workers on each, or 3 workers on each even. But in this case, it's a single gas. It's really hard to tell what builds are in Legacy of the Void. So here come the Adepts. That Overlord did scout them. If NetGenius is checking his minimap, he saw exactly what is going on there. A single Zergling gets taken down, another one dies as well. The Adepts are hoofing it across the map here at ×2 speed. And as soon as they actually get to work, we'll slow it down just a little bit, because right now they're just kind of hanging out. But actually more and more Adepts heading across the map. A Sentry coming up as well. Nexus plopping down at the natural. Alright, 4 Adepts. I think we're going to start moving out. And yes, indeed, we are heading right up the ramp, up the stairs to the natural of the Zerg base. What is he doing? He's making roaches. He's making a single spine crawler against slowlings. Ooh, 3 queens. That is pretty good stuff right there. I like to see queens used against Adepts because they are armored. And Adepts don't do too much damage against them. Actually, I think they could see that psionic transfer. I'm going to assume that the Zerg... Oh, it gets cancelled. Okay, so the lings respond quickly. The queen responds quickly. The Adepts say, maybe we're not going to psionic transfer up there. He cancels the ability and just heads bound back home. So that's a lot of investment from VampyWorm for something that pretty much did no damage whatsoever. He killed a couple lings that were out on the map, but that was it. I mean, units lost tab 2 lings. Blah. Any Zerg player will be happy at losing 2 lings in the first 4 minutes of the game. Here they come. Not very much of a solid wall off, but I imagine the Sentry will help with that if any lings do decide to show up. Not actually getting speed for those lings. Might be just a roach push. Maybe a Roach Ravager type push that is favored by Tang. Getting a Forge now is our friend VampyWorm. NetGenius not doing much of anything on that production tab. Pretty much going to do creep tumors and not actually extending these either. Getting an evolution chamber at the same time. Does he have a lot of money? He does. 600, 300, getting more and more gas. I don't know. I guess he's getting a lair. Maybe he's waiting for that lair to actually decide what tech path he's going to go. He probably needs a 3rd base, considering Vampy is up to 2 bases here. Up 33 to 23 harvesters. These lings that were made were good for the defense, but I guess they were necessary. They were good. They were good to have. I was going to say these could be drones, but nah, not in this particular situation. 2 evolution chambers are now up. Start researching missile attacks level 1 and ground carapace level 1. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do Hydras or Roaches or Ravagers or Lurkers, any of those units that make use of those upgrades. Overlord sitting around here to sing, this is a nice place to hang out. There are trees, it's a floating island, those are super neat. Actually, is it floating? If you look down here, there's actually trees in like a lower level. So maybe not floating, just a really tall pillar of some kind here. Throwing down a forward pylon in full view of this Overlord is VampyWorm, and here comes a push with Adepts and a whole bunch of sentries and a hallucinated stalker. Is that what that is? That is what that is. That is really odd. Could we kill the pylon? That would be a nice thing to do if you're a Zerg player, but no, instead he's not doing that. Making a nidus! Whoa! Making a nidus worm. That's crazy stuff. More Adepts coming in. This does not look good for our Zerg player. Vampy marching right up this ramp once again. And to see what he can do. The Adepts out in front to tank all of the damage. Sentries as well. Here we go. Force field not that great. There we go. Better. Trapping these 2 queens behind the line. Transfuse is going down on the queens. The Spine Crawler does manage to burrow. That is very nice. Spine doing a ton of damage to these units, but man, these queens are melting fast. Sentries don't do a lot of damage, but there's a lot of them. They can take things down fairly quickly. These adepts doing all they can to take down this roach and this queen. There are 3 queens left, but what's in production? 10 roaches in production. Can Vampy manage to make the move here to kill the Zerg player, or can NetGenius hold this off with this flow of, oh, the roaches come in. The sentries could have actually walled off this ramp with force fields, but instead they let the roaches come right on in. Roaches doing a lot of good damage. Again, force fields not doing a whole lot. I think most of these roaches can still fire. Queens in the back doing a lot of damage. 2 kills there, 2 kills there, more roaches coming in. The drones actually aren't being pulled off, which I find surprising, but the roaches are just tanky enough. We are starting to actually snipe down the sentries, which is huge. Finally force fielding off the ramp, but a little bit late. More stalkers coming in for VampyWorm. Transfuses coming down on the roaches as well. Are there more reinforcements coming, pulling drones off the line just to stay alive? VampyWorm says, all right, I've done enough damage for today. He is up 71 to 66 harvesters. He is on 2 bases to the 2 of the Zerg player. Drones are dying left and right here, trying to tank the damage for the roaches. And good stutter step micro here from Vampy. He doesn't have blink, but he's researching +1 ground armor for his Protoss units. More stalkers warping in, a lot of stalkers warping in, and an immortal in production as well. That's what you need against these roaches. 6 more roaches in production. Do we have the +1? We do have the +1 missile attack, so that's good against the +1 attack. Particle disruptors, and what is this called actually? Glaive cannon for the adepts. So +1 there as well, kind of evenly matched. Here we come back up the ramp again. The roach is getting a pretty good concave at the top of the ramp though. There are a lot of them, and VampyWorm says, I'm going to wait for that immortal to show up. I think that would be good. A 3rd base now being taken by VampyWorm. Excellent, excellent decision here. Stuck on 2. Soft-contained is NetGenius. I don't know what he's going to be able to do here. He does have this nidus network, which he could use to drop into the main base of the Protoss player. There are no cannons. There's really nothing here whatsoever. A good round of speedlings into that nidus would be amazing. Inject. Queen, you need to inject now. He's been doing pretty good with it, but there we go. Here comes the nidus. Is it spotted by VampyWorm? I don't think he sees it. He has his army here at the front door. Slowly, slowly growing is this nidus. You can't select it until it's actually finished, so that's a pretty good benefit to the new nidus in Legacy of the Void. And it hatches with the screen that we're all so familiar with, and in come the roaches right into the middle line of VampyWorm. Probes are dying left and right. Queen's popping in as well. What's the response going to be from Vampy? Vampy decides to actually head back home and try to defend. Killing this cybernetics core would be so nice. Very nice as well. The Queen actually shooing away the mothership core so she can't get a photon overcharge off. Excellent, excellent maneuvering here from NetGenius. Going to try to snipe down this Twilight Council as well. I think we might actually be able to get it. No, trying to retreat. We need to go back into the nidus. The army has returned for VampyWorm. He's very upset, but he can't take his rage out on anything but this nidus. Every single unit escapes. All this disgusting creep is all over the building. I didn't actually get the cyber core. That's huge. If he could have gotten that cyber core, I think it would have been okay. How many workers have we lost here? 10 workers to 7. So 10 probes died in that attack. Pretty good pull from VampyWorm, keeping those alive. A 3rd base now coming up. I feel like that should have been planted a while ago. Taking these pylons out would be nice as well for NetGenius. Maybe he's doing that. I don't know. No, not really. These roaches have speed. They have +1 missile attack and actually getting +2 missile attack now. There we go. Taking down those forward pylons. Being very intelligent that way. We're going to get these other pylons. Getting the probe. That's good too. And yeah, all the forward pylons are actually going to go down. Excellent, excellent play for NetGenius. That nidus was very well executed. Killed workers. I really wish he'd gotten the cyber core or the Twilight Council, or ideally both, but the micro was a little bit lacking. I'm not sure what else he was doing with his micro. He wasn't really expanding back home, and he wasn't really trying to deal with an army at his front door because the army retreated as soon as that happened. But either way, it's 3 base. VampyWorm in a very commanding position. 51 to 31 harvesters, 106 supply to 100. Again, a lot of roaches, and actually Hydra's on the way now. That's a good choice here. We don't see any Colossus. I think because Colossus are bad in Legacy of the Void. That is the general consensus from Protoss that I read on Reddit. Maybe they need a buff. I don't know. They've just been so good for so long. Getting plus ground weapons level 2 for VampyWorm, as well as actually a robotics bay. So maybe disruptors are going to be the answer here. I don't know. Here comes the Stalker Immortal Adept Death Ball coming right on in. The Hydras and the roaches getting into position, hoping that the Protoss army comes down that ramp, but no. Vampy says, I do not want to go into that choke. I'm going to wait for reinforcements. Warping in more Stalkers. Yep, Stalkers are a pretty good choice here. I guess not necessarily against the Hydras. Blink is on the way, though. It's not quite finished. Stalkers are a lot better with Blink. We'll have to see how this battle actually manages to go. Again, trying to get a good concave. Isn't that genius? He'd really like this Groove Spines to finish, get that distance get that range on those Hydralisks and get Carapace level 1 as well. That would be really good for him. Again, we have shields +1, +2 just about to finish for our Protoss player, VampyWorm from Team Ascension. Holding this Elnaga Watchtower is the Zergling. Nobody's really scouted out the rest of the map to see if there are any ninja bases going on. I guess they assume both players are playing pretty standard. And are we going to do another Nidus? We could. Oh, there's cannons here. Never mind. How about over here? We could do a Nidus here, actually. What is coming out of this? Ah, there comes the Disruptor. Disruptors have not been nerfed. I'm just going to say that. At the time of this cast, there has been no change made to the Disruptor. So here we come on in again. Just kind of poking at the creep tumors, making sure that the Zerg player can't see too far outside his own base. Now making a Spire. I'm always worried about making a Spire when there's a Protoss army outside my front base. I just feel like it takes so long to finish. I can't get mutas out before they finally decide to move in and kill me. It's a very, very nervous feeling, but NetGenius doing a good job of it. Again, with these Hydras, and they do have range and +2 missile attack. And that Carapace just about to finish as well, making some Ravagers. Excellent, excellent choice. I like the Ravager unit. But here we come, heading down the ramp. No, VampyWorm just kind of playing patty cake here with these creep tumors and these spine crawlers. Not quite ready to commit down that ramp. He knows it's not a good place for him to be. Coming up here might be a little bit better. The wider choke is better for Protoss, but ooh, we'll have to see. The longer NetGenius waits, the longer VampyWorm waits, the more disruptors are going to be in the Protoss army. So I think time here actually benefits Vampy by quite a bit. 65 to 46 harvesters, 131 to 168. Vampy's army is just getting super big. These immortals, these disruptors. Oh, it's a new model for the disruptor, actually. Come here, you. Oh. Alright, man, everything's spinning. If there's a unit in there, I mean, I guess it's probably just a robot, but if there's like a biological creature in there, they are going to get sick from all that spinning. That is for sure. Alright. Regardless, let's go ahead and stop following the Disruptor. Pretty cool. I kind of like it. I like the new model, I think. There we go. 4th base now coming up for Vampy. 4th base coming up for NetGenius as well. I don't think Zerg players have had much luck on this map. I think usually Protoss wins this matchup on Ruins of Seras. I'm not sure why that is. I mean, taking a third is fairly easy for NetGenius, the Zerg player. You could really inject here, getting a lot of gas. The Spire has actually finished. He's not doing anything with it, though. Getting shooed away is this Overlord down to 23 hit points, morphing into an Overseer to recover all that health. It's going to be Roach, Hydra, Ravager. I think Lurkers might be good too. It's a pretty ground-heavy army here from VampyWorm, but maybe NetGenius doesn't like him. His injects just, they're not that good, which explains it. His worker count is at 38 at the 13-minute mark in a Legacy of the Void game. He is just not saturating at all. He could saturate this 3rd base. That would be really nice, but here we come again. Just a little love tap from VampyWorm, just saying, "Hey, NetGenius, I know that you're there. Just wanted you to know that I'm here." Coming right on up again, sniping down creep tumors. Are we going to commit this time? Is the question. Ooh, it's a pretty good angle of attack for VampyWorm, and yes, he is coming. The disruptors come right on in, kind of overlapping each other though, and they do kill a lot of units. Another disruptor comes in, gets sniped down. The Ravagers throwing down corrosive bile on top of everything, but the Immortals are pretty much being immortal here. 3 kills, 5 kills, 6 kills on this using their barrier ability. The Immortals refuse to die, and VampyWorm tears through that entire army. NetGenius, who is defeated, and VampyWorm is our victor here today. So, whew, pretty crazy game there. Both players, again, a lot of aggression early. Kind of sat around for a while in the mid game, but that final push was just too strong for VampyWorm. Again, I think the worker count was just too low. I mean, I feel like NetGenius could have maxed out. Could have maybe had some mutas in this composition. Would have been nice against those Immortals. Maybe some Lurkers, again, as I said. But again, I'm not a Masters player, so perhaps I will refrain from criticizing too much of what NetGenius is trying to do. 12 mutas were on the way, actually, so a little bit too late, though. All right, this has been FalconPaladin with yet another daily Blizzard upload. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you heard and saw today. You can also catch me on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook, all at /FalconPaladin. Very easy to find, very easy to remember. And until next time, as always, you take care of yourself.